Hello, how are you everybody? Today is 16th August 2020 and still we are in the phase of COVID-19. Rather it is unlock period, but still we are working from home and delivering different type of lectures on daily basis. So today I will deliver a lecture entitled Economics of Patriotism and Atmnirbhar Bharat. And this is a relevant topic because in this COVID-19 era there was a regular phenomena is emerging of Atmnirbhar Bharat when our Prime Minister of India declared the relief package as Atmnirbhar Bharat. So I will here just present that why Atmnirbhar Bharat and actually what is Atmnirbhar Bharat. So dear friend, we should know about the background of our country, the glory of our country, glory of India. The economic history of India begins with the, generally in the historical background, with the Indus Valley civilization, that is 3300 to 1300 BC, whose economy appears to have depended significantly on trade and examples of overseas trade. And the Vedic period saw countable units of precious metal being used for the exchange at that time. And historically, India was the largest economy in the world for most of the next 3 millennium, starting around the first millennium BC and ending around the beginning of the British Raj. So dear friends, around 600 BC, the Mahajanpads minted punch-marked silver coins, and the period was marked by intensive trade activity and urban development. And by 300 BC, the Maurya Empire had united most of the Indian subcontinent. So, the resulting political unity and military security allowed for a common economic system and enhanced trade and commerce with increased agricultural productivity. So that this was the glory of our country, very rich. And when we conclude this glory, then by the late 17th century, most of the Indian subcontinent had been reunited under the Mughal Empire. Okay, and which became the largest economy and manufacturing power in the world, producing about a quarter of global GDP before fragmenting and being conquered over the next century. And during the medieval times, India was the world leader in manufacturing and producing 25% of the world's industrial output up until the mid 18th century, that is prior to British rule. So this is the background why we need Atmnirbhar, because earlier India was Atmnirbhar, Bharat was Atmnirbhar till British rule, and Britishers plunder our economy, as we all know, and yesterday we celebrated our 74th Independence Day, dear friend. Okay, so so due to this colonial India, our trade, industry, manufacturing sector has been diminished. This we should know. And the surprising part was the Western world resulted in India's share of the world's economy declining from, due to that British rule, declining from 24.4 or 25% in 1700 to 4.2% in 1950 till our first plan, and its share of global industrial output declining from 25% in 1750 to 2% in 1990. So just steep decline in our industrial and trade output share in the country. So the glory and the result this is in front of us, and that's why Atmnirbhar Bharat is the need of our years. And we all know that the Republic of India, founded in 1947, adopted central planning for most of its independent history, with extensive public ownership, regulation, red tape and trade barriers. And after the 1991 economic crisis, the central government launched economic liberalization, allowing to emerge as one of the world's fastest growing larger economies. So this is all the story of our Indian economy. And when we compare ourselves with China, both India and China was the number one and number two in that period. But later on, China jumped in her economy because China invested in agriculture, R&D, and in her youth. And that's why in 1700, India, most of were under the Mughal rule, is said to be pulled ahead of China that time. But China was making better use of agricultural technology, and by early 19th century, India was the second largest, but its GDP was just over half of the China's. And India's never resumed lead position again after that. And that is the sad side of our story, because tragically, post-independence India made it worse for itself by choosing state socialism. And China went to communism. And the socialism and communism both lied. China and India lies in this type of political scenario, and their country is slipping down to the ranks. And India was the 9th largest economy in 1980, followed by communist China at 10th. So till 80 also there is no difference between China and India. But then Deng Xiaoping yanked China out of collectivism. China raced ahead of India and remains far ahead even now till date. India's catch-up started in 1991, but still we are very lopsided with this China, because our trade share, our industrial share, our FDI is very much lower than the China. So we have to realize this fact. Then only we can give importance to our Atmnirbhar Bharat. And you know the population share, China's population share is 18.47 in world, and India is second with 17.70 in the world. So India is very populous, and due to this population pressure, still India have 24 to 25% of poor of the world. So this is a share of poverty in India due to this population pressure. And very good side of the Indian population is our youth share. With 356 million 10 to 24 years old, India has the world's largest youth population despite having a smaller population than China. And China is the second one. We all know, dear friends, that young people are the innovators, creators, and builders and leaders of the future. But they can transform the future only if they have skills, health, decision making, and real choices in their life. The potential economic gains would be realized through a demographic dividend, which can occur when country's working age population is larger than the population that is dependent. That's why we debate that demographic dividend versus demographic burden. So this should be working population should be more than dependent. And never before have there been so many young people. Never again is there likely to be such potential for economic and social progress. How we meet the needs and aspiration of young people will define our common future. So that's why Atmanirbhar Bharat is necessary. In order to maximize the dividend, countries must ensure their young working age populations are equipped to seize opportunities for jobs and other income earning possibilities. So dear friends, with the right policies and investment in human capital, countries can empower young people to drive economic and social development and boost per capita incomes. A demographic dividend of this magnitude has the potential to lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and raise living standards and catapult economies forward. These investment can also accelerate fertility declines, for which our Prime Minister is concerning, and yesterday he formed a committee for the marriage age of the women. So these investment for youth can also accelerate fertility declines, which can in turn accelerate the demographic transition. So this is the positive side. And when we see the research and development share, India's share is very low, because China's share is 2.19% of the GDP. United States share is 2.74. Japan share is 3.14. Germany is 2.94. South Korea is 4.29% of GDP share of R&D. And India's share in R&D of GDP share is only 0.85. So this is also great concern, because we have to skill our youth, and without investment in R&D, we can't provide the employment or skill development in our youth. So this is the reality. And the trade share is also a very bad side, because in trade, earlier I told you the glory of Indian economy, but now till date, Canada is capturing 13.9% of the world trade share. And Mexico is 13.8%. China is 13.1%. Japan, even whose population is only 1.7% of share, Japan even captured 5.1%, and Germany 4.7%, and United Kingdom 3.1%. But India captured only 2% of the world's trade share. This is also a concern. And also our FDI is also very much low than European Union, Netherlands, United States, Hong Kong, China, etc. So this is a realization. So reality is still more than 60% of the world population depends on agriculture. And according to FAO, more than 60% of the world's population depends on agriculture for survival. So if the population is about 7 to 8 billion now and grow to 9 billion in 2020, 12% of the total available land, or about 1.5 billion hectares, would be used for agriculture crops. So this is also concern, and India should concern for that. And that's why in Atmnirbhar Bharat, MSMEs are giving boost. Over 15 crore Indian MSMEs will get $750 million boost from the World Bank, as the latter has extended help amid the coronavirus crisis. So dear friends, World Bank's Board of Executive Directors approved $750 million for Indian MSMEs after announcing our Atmnirbhar package. So this is a good sign. And in today's world, we all know bicycle parts are made anywhere from anything, as for example from Europe to Latin America to East Asia. Okay, so this we have to realize that we can boost our MSMEs through investment in SMEs, because micro, small, medium enterprises in the country must understand the needs of the foreign market and desire their products according to the able to increase the sector share in India's export to around 60%. Currently, MSMEs contribute around 49% to the country's exports. We have targeted that at least 60% should be exported through our country. So this is our target. For MSMEs to be able to sell in the international market, it is essential that the cost of production, largely linked with the cost of power, logistic and capitals, come down. This is the great challenge. And we all know that in our country, our manufacturing sector is not increasing at the desired speed, but our service sector is only increasing, and our agriculture sector's GDP share is also decreasing, because India still only 15.4% contribution of agriculture in GDP, and dependence of population is more than 60%. So this we have to realize, and because the small and medium industries play a major role in most economies, particularly in developing countries like India. They represent about 90% of business and more than 50% of employment worldwide. So formal SMEs contribute up to 40% of national income of GDP in emerging economies. in which India is also there. So dear friend, we have to realize this, and then Atmnirbhar Bharat is a bhav of patriotism. This is a internal essence of the patriotism. Then only we can. One report, I will quote one report, that World Development Indicator of for 55 countries, and found that there is a positive correlation between patriotism and economic growth. So with the essence of patriotism, with the essence of nationalism, with the essence of vocal for local, we can move forward. Okay, so this we have to realize, dear friends, for this. And then there is a scope of import substitution after announcing the Atmanirbhar Bharat, because the share of Chinese products in is very much in the global market. So we should think of qualitative manufacturing within country and move for import substitution. Then only we can substitute the Chinese import, dear friends. And this is our concern. And this is the background of our Atmanirbhar Bharat. We all know that our Prime Minister in previous years abolished many laws, transformed the taxation system, and announced many things for the MSMEs and also for agriculture. And he is also transforming the labor laws for the sake of industries. So reforms noticeably slowed the term progress, but the government managed to institute two key reforms by the previous term: the goods and services, that is GST, and the insolvency bankruptcy code. So this is good. And according to many experts, the government felt the changing geopolitics due to COVID-19, and they rightly thought that bold reforms is the need of ours. So Prime Minister announced 21 lakh crore of stimulus package during this COVID-19 period. So dear friends, there was a need of agriculture reform, there was a need of infrastructure reforms, there was a need of land reforms, labor reforms, there is still need of GST 2 part 2 for the more restructuring of the there is a need of direct tax reforms which government is doing, and last but not least there is a need of financial sector reforms, because through all this only then we can move for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Because in Atmanirbhar Bharat, where Prime Minister announced 21 lakh crore of the package, an economy ideology, the philosophy was an economy ideology which promotes economic self-sufficiency. This was the philosophy. And there was a sense of reforms, performs and transforms. And reforms in 4 areas, that is land, labor, liquidity and law. And performs pillar was 5, that is economy, a quantum jump in the economy is needed. Second is infrastructure, and infrastructure that can be new image of India. And third was system, a system that can fulfill the dreams of the 21st century. Fourth was demography, India's demography is vibrant, they should be there. And fifth is demand, the demand and supply chain need to be utilized and strengthened. So this was the perform side. And how to reform? Then there is a need of the bhav, that is through vocal for local. That is the need of our, and this is the essence of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And then there should be local manufacturing, and MSMEs and cottage industries will be benefited through this. So in that Atmanirbhar Bharat package, there was a reform, perform and transform essence. So dear friend, very recently, 3 or 4 days back, Prime Minister launched a taxation scheme for transparent taxation to honor the honest, and aimed to further carrying forward the journey of the direct tax reforms. Dividend distribution tax is also abolished day before yesterday. So government is doing a lot. So the charter is for honest taxpayer. So we should pay the taxes, and we should get back for the growth. We should get back for the growth through our inspiration and through our motivation, dear friends, because vocal for local and work to revival of the rural economy is the need of our. So this is the essence of Atmnirbhar Bharat, and this we have to upshot. Without this, we can't move forward. And for the Atmnirbhar Bharat, we have to educate and retain the talent and boost brand India through youngster. Okay, so the Prime Minister readily and frequently appeal to youth that come and move forward to take advantage of this Atmnirbhar package and MSMEs package. So there are a lot of concerns regarding poverty, but through Atmanirbhar Bharat, through investment in rural areas, through vocal for local, we can also slowly and gradually reduce the poverty of our country, dear friends. So this was this brief presentation just to recall the Atmanirbhar Bharat and recall everyone that only youth can adopt this Atmanirbhar Bharat through taking all the advantage, the definition change for the MSMEs, small scale sector, and move forward to take leading role in the Indian economy, dear friends. So for this consortium power should be emerged in our countries. We all know that a consortium is an association of two or more individuals, companies, organizations or governments with the objectives of participating in common activity or pooling their resource for achieving a common goal. So youth should make consortium for the sake of Indian economy, dear friends. So government, academia, industry and youth should make consortium, a group of positiveness and group to lead the country. So dear friend, this was the small presentation, and this will enrich through our new education policy, and that is also a good chance for the youth how to move forward through this new education policy. So thank you very much and take care of yourself.